not even mini because it's really big. Yes, if you're about to make that joke in the comments, you are hilarious. But for the rest of you who are interested in the new Mini Countryman, which is now a roomier than ever, more practical than ever, more stylish than ever, and better to drive than ever SUV, then stick around for my full review because it's coming up. And let's leave the other Countrymen to their jokes. Ha ha, they're so funny. To be fair, I think most of us are actually okay with the fact that Mini is now producing proper human-sized cars that we can fit in. But the most divisive thing about this new Countryman, on the internet at least, has been its looks. Rather predictably, it is a little bit challenging. I think it looks really smart in the metal, actually. It looks way better than photos. This is a top-spec JCW one. It costs about £42,000. The entry-level one, the C, the Countryman C, that's about 30 grand. That's got a 1.5 litre engine. Then there's the Cooper S with a 2 litre engine, and this one has got 300 horsepower from its 2 litre engine. The S and this are 4-wheel drive, but yeah, I think it actually looks quite smart. I like the little JCW badge here and all the radar gubbins behind here. It's actually got this nice kind of checkered flag texture on it. It's a little bit like they've taken a more nicely designed car, put it on a belt sander and given the edges a radius, but it's okay in person, at least from the front. But anyway, let's look around the rest of it before I get blown away. Right, here's a look at the Countryman's cabin, and this is really where I think your money is going when you buy this car. It does feel different to any other Mini so far. This is their new interior design language, and frankly, I kind of love it with a few caveats. Now, first of all, you don't get a driver's display down there. Everything is on here, so you have to look up here for your speed. If you don't have the little pop-up head-up display here, and that isn't included as standard on entry-level versions. You have to spec it in one of the option packs, which are called things like level 1, 2, 3, and they bundle in a load of other stuff as well. The Jesus Cross is sadly an optional extra, so you don't get that on the dashboard. That's just because this is a press car. But yeah, seriously, this 9.6-inch infotainment screen looks really impressive. Never seen a round screen like this in a car before. It's really clear. Takes a little while to get used to because it's just different to anything I've used before. So there are some menus which are a bit buried and it's not immediately obvious which bits you can prod. For example, you can prod down there to change the temperature and the animations change and the background color changes red as you make it warmer. And there are loads of different themes for it as well. I quite like this retro timeless theme, which looks a bit old school, and that does actually mimic in the head-up display. So that changes to look like that as well. Then you've got the go-kart mode, which is the sporty driving mode. You've got the green mode, which is more chilled out. No adaptive dampers, though, on this car, so the ride doesn't change, and that is a bit fidgety, as we'll get onto. The steering wheel is pretty nice, but these bits up here are absurdly chunky. I don't know what that's for. It looks like you're holding half a trout or something. But yeah, you've got gear shift paddles because there's no manual option anymore. I don't think there ever was actually, or there hasn't been for a while. If you hold the left paddle, you get a boost for 10 seconds, so it primes everything, a bit like Porsche's Sport Response mode. Your gear knob is down there. Sorry for the shaky camera work. And you've also got some physical controls for your front and rear window defoggers and your parking brakes down there as well as the toggle for the driving modes. You have also got a wireless charging mat. You've got some storage down there. You've got this nice little lidded bin here, and if I lift it up, you can see it's a good place to stash some of your stuff. Sorry it's a bit dark, my ND filter's broken and it is stuck in the darkest position. But yeah, I really like it here. I especially like the kind of wool effect textured stuff on the dashboard and on the doors. I like where we're going with that stuff. I'm sure it's all probably recycled as well. Yeah, you get leather seats in this one, being a top spec JCW one. But yeah, the interior is lovely and I really like it, and I'm excited for Mini to do this in its other cars as well. There's a few other nice little touches in the interior as well. I really like the kind of bronze door handles on this one. You haven't got felt lined door bins, which means stuff will rattle around a little bit. But this being the JCW, you do also get, I think it's a 12 speaker Carbon hard-on sound system with these little metal grills. And it does sound pretty good, not amazing, but the bass is thumping. It's just not the clearest sound system I've ever heard. Now, just before we carry on with the review, one niggle that has been, or niggling me, is the fact that this centre armrest doesn't open. There's no storage in there. It slides backwards and forwards, but it feels like they could have fitted a phone tray in there or something at least, bit of waste. And you have got two USB-Cs down there, which my camera refuses to focus on, and a 12-volt socket. There's your cup holders and all the rest of it. So yeah, lots of fabric. Do quite like it. Now, it's been a long while since I drove the old Mini Countryman, but from memory it was a bit cramped in the back and it wasn't quite as big inside as you might have thought from the outside. This one though, being based, as I said, on the new X1, it is pretty good. I'm 6'3", that's my driving position. And yeah, I fit, my feet are under the seat, there's loads of headroom, the panoramic sunroof doesn't eat into my headroom. The door bins have got a big bit here for a big bottle, but the back bit is a little bit tight and this armrest is quite low, so you can't fit 2 bottles in the back bit of it. But I've got 2 USB-Cs, some slightly bronzed plastic vent knobs there, a little storage tray. There's a bit of a hump in the floor, and the middle seat's not massively wide, so I don't think 5 people will be able to comfortable in here for long journeys, but I am really comfortable. I should point out that all models also get reclining seats. I say reclining seats, you can have them vertical, which you'd never do unless you are an absolute masochist, or you can lie them back a little bit. Now, S and JCW models also get sliding seats, which you can option on the entry-level C model. Don't know why you would ever have them anything other than all the way back, unless you're not carrying rear seat passengers and you want more boot space. But yeah, that's it. Let's check out the rest of it. Now, being a Tim Rodey Drive Stuff thorough professional review, I've messed up already. I think I said Cooper S when I mentioned the mid-spec engine choice. They've banished the word Cooper, it's just the Countryman S, but whatever. It looks quite nice from the back, quad tailpipes. You've got the traditional now Mini Union Jack tail lights. It's all blacked out on this one, it looks really smart. All Countrymans now get reversing camera and rear parking sensors as well. The boot is actually a little bit bigger than on the old one because this whole car is about that much longer than the old Countryman, about 15 centimeters longer, because it's based on the latest BMW X1, which is very practical and roomy for a small car, so we'll see if this follows suit. But yeah, the boot is nice and wide, you've got these kind of spaces here for stuff. It's an okay size, and you do get the same boot size whether you buy this or the electric one that I've not mentioned yet because I'm rubbish at intros, the Countryman E and SE. They can do about 250 miles on a charge. Think of them as a more stylish version of the BMW iX1 and you won't go far wrong. Beautiful sunny day, motorbikes, but actually I'm not too bothered about being in this because as we'll find out, it drives pretty well. Right, let's go for a drive in the new Countryman, and as I get in, I forgot the seat moves forward a little bit. So when you just saw the rear legroom, I've actually got a little bit more even than that. But yeah, I did mention the engines briefly at the start, but it's worth going over them again now that I've remembered them. The entry-level Countryman C, that's got 1.5 litre engine with 170 horsepower, good for 0 to 60 in 8.3 seconds. It's front-wheel drive. Then the S has got 220 horsepower, 7.1 to 60, four-wheel drive. This got 300 horsepower and it's 5.3 to 60, or 62. But anyway, yeah, let's hoon it down one of my favourite roads here in, I can't remember which county, but near the Uffington White Horse. But yeah, it's a really good car to drive. The only real downsides that I found are that the ride can be quite lumpy and a little bit brittle around town over potholes and things like that. It's definitely on the firm side, but then I drove the new X1 recently and that's quite a firm riding car too, and I don't think this is worlds away from that car in terms of comfort. It's certainly grown up enough that you could live with it if you can put up with the occasional I shouldn't have felt that, but I did. But yeah, it is reasonably sporty. If you flick the experiences toggle up into depression at university because no one loves you, oh no, go-kart handling, it makes a fun jingle which you can turn off, and then you get the classic Mini fake noise, decent acceleration but certainly not pulling my hair off, and the gearbox is a little bit sluggish to respond using the paddles, which is a bit of a shame. There's no whip crack dual clutch nonsense going on here. It's a torque converter. It does give you the occasional amusing humph on upshifts, but yeah, it's not, I don't know, it's not the most engaging powertrain. It is a very grippy chassis though, rolls a little bit in corners, it's not completely flat, but I quite like that. And you can drive it very fast cross country, especially with this four-wheel drive system. In the wet, you just boot it out of corners and it feels really good. Now, when you're driving it normally, being a sensible grown-up, hang on. Sorry, when you're driving it normally, being a sensible grown-up, it's still reasonably thirsty. I've been getting about 28, 29 mpg out of this JCW model. The visibility is quite good though. Out of the back corners, it's not too bad because you've got large rear quarter lights on this car. And it feels airy. With this sunroof, it feels like I want to go on a family holiday and do a bit of adventuring. All right, other niggles. Don't get the head-up display as standard, I've covered that, so you have to look over here for your speed. But at least the speed is shown right at the top of your dinner plate of digital delight. And yeah, there's a driver awareness sensor down there, as most modern cars have. And being a 2024 model year car, obviously the speed limit warning does come on and bong at you, and you have to turn it off. You can turn it off quite quickly though by pressing a button down here and then saying speed limit warning off, and you can set it as a shortcut. Basically, this infotainment is all the BMW stuff, but put in a sexier, more Apple-esque package. So on a motorway, you get a bit of wind noise off the door mirrors, but yeah, tackling muddy, crappy roads is really good fun. I last came down here in a GT3 RS, and that was outrageous, but I was having my spine smashed in a way that this car is not quite doing. But yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, and you do sit up reasonably high as well. So if you do want that SUV driving position, try one of these. It doesn't feel like you're sitting down with the ants like a regular Mini. I suppose I should quickly talk about this car's rivals when it comes to driving. The one that springs to mind is actually the car I've been living with the past 3 months, the Cupra Formentor. It's about the same price as one of these, 42 grand-ish for the sporty one of those, the 300 horsepower one. That does feel a lot sportier than this to drive. It feels flatter in the corners. It's more entertaining as well. Moves around a little bit more, and it feels more direct. This feels a little bit more like, I don't know, a cartoon version of sporty driving. Right, I probably waffled on enough about how this drives. It is a decent package, drives better than the last one. It's certainly less firm than the last one and feels a bit faster and a bit less thirsty. I remember getting 22 mpg out of the last JCW Countryman. No, it was a Cooper S Countryman. I got 22 mpg out of that, which was terrible. So 30 out of a more powerful one is fine by me. Right, let's go back to me for an outro before my 360 camera gets wet. Right, to sum up, I've been waiting to drive the new Countryman since I clapped eyes on it, because I thought that's probably quite an interesting small family SUV, and yes it is. And it is mostly very good. It is way more spacious than before. It's got proper family practicality. The only compromise being the boot, 450 odd litres, is a little bit smaller than I would like. It's 100 litres down on the one in the BMW X1, for example. It's kind of more on a par, something like a Renault Captur. Now naturally this is way more expensive than that car and way more premium feeling, but I kind of want Mini to go and do a version of the X3. That's probably heresy because it'll be bigger than this, but it'd be interesting to see what they could do, because the interior on this feels really special. The driving experience is engaging. It's not a proper hot hatch, and 300 horsepower feels a bit blunted by the weight of this, to be honest. The ride is a little bit jiggly as well, but by and large, it's a really good step on for Mini. It is a more viable family car than ever before. I would love to have one of these, frankly. It's a really cool thing. The interior makes you feel special, and it's a bit of an event. And when was the last time we saw a car interior that made you feel wow, as if you just opened your first new iPhone? That's what I felt when I got into this. But anyway, thank you for watching. My camera's about to blow over, so I'm going to get closer so I can catch it. Go down to the comments, leave me the German word for it's quite big, excuse me, and I'll see you next time. Subscribe as well. Goodbye. Right, that is going to blow over. I'm going to grab it.